And the first thing that happens, usually, is the love scene.
The lights are soft. A faint hum of the studio equipment fills the space. Diane Lane leans back in her chair, the kind of casual elegance that makes you forget the cameras are rolling. Her smile, half mischief, half mystery, catches the room like sunlight through a stained glass window. "You really want me to answer that?" she teases, voice low, teasing, like a secret just waiting to escape. At 60, Diane knows honesty has its risks, especially when it comes to handsome men. She sighs, long and deliberate, like a curtain lifting. "I've spent my life surrounded by some of the most beautiful, talented men you could imagine," she begins, eyes twinkling. Some too young, some too perfect, and most far out of reach. I won't lie, it's crossed my mind more than once. Her wink says she's only half serious, and the room leans in, silently begging for more. She crosses her legs, voice dipping into that smoky, confessional rhythm she's known for. "Fantasy is safe, action, dangerous. And trust me, the fantasy is always the sweeter part. The thrill is in the mystery. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is stop just before you make the mistake you'll never forget." Her smile widens, a knowing and dangerous curve. But there were 6 men who made me forget my lines, my cool, and yes, maybe even a few of my morals. "I never crossed the line," she adds, leaning in closer, eyes gleaming with playful danger. "But I thought about it. More than once." Soft laughter escapes her lips. "So who were they?" "Let's just say some of Hollywood's finest. Made being professional very difficult." She leans back again, slow, deliberate, radiant. "And at 60, I'm finally old enough to admit it." Richard Gere. "Richard Gere," she says, the name rolling off her tongue like a melody. She closes her eyes for a moment, tasting the memory. Working with him on Unfaithful. It was like standing next to a living poem. You can't help but feel his presence. Calm, confident, disarming. She laughs softly, warm and teasing. "I thought it would be easy." And then he looked at me during our first read-through, and I completely lost my place. Not because he did anything, but because he has this stillness, a focus, a quiet power that sees right through you. "It's dangerous." Diane's hands fold in her lap. "You spend months pretending to be in love with someone like that. Long days, emotional scenes, little space to breathe, and slowly acting starts to feel a little too natural." She smiles knowingly. "There's a dance, a glance, a pause, a heartbeat you feel even off camera. You stay in character a moment longer than necessary. Everyone pretends not to notice, but they do. By the time we were filming Nights in Rodanthe, it felt like picking up a conversation that never ended. A teasing glance here, a shared memory there. That comfort, it's rare. It lets the audience believe the illusion." Her voice softens, reflective. "Richard has a kind of elegance, dangerous because it sneaks up on you. You think you're fine, then he smiles, and you forget your next line. That's a professional hazard." Diane laughs, bright, knowing, irresistible. "Yes, it's like standing next to a warm fire. You don't mean to get close, but it pulls you in. I behaved, of course. But the line between acting and feeling? Very, very thin." She pauses, her tone dipping into something tender. "What people don't see is how generous he is as a scene partner. He gives you the moment, lets you breathe, lets you find truth in the silence. You never feel rushed with Richard. You just fall into the rhythm of him. The space between words becomes its own kind of dialogue." Diane glances down, smiling faintly. "That's the secret. It's not the look, or the charm, or the voice. It's the patience, the willingness to let a scene live and die naturally. With him, you're not just acting. You're connecting, and that stays with you long after the cameras stop." Kevin Costner, Diane begins, a small smile tugging at her lips even before she speaks. "That man, could make standing still look heroic. She shakes her head, laughter soft, nostalgic. I remember our first day on Let Him Go. He walked onto set, hat in hand, slow draw, steady eyes, and immediately the room shifted. You didn't just watch Kevin, you felt him. A quiet gravity, a current pulling you in before you realized you were moving. Her voice softens further, reflective. Kevin listens, not just hearing your words, but really listening. It changes everything about how you respond. Acting next to him is like learning a new rhythm. Subtle, deliberate, magnetic. She grins, eyes sparkling. He teases you without words. Half a smile here, a glance there, and suddenly, you're thinking less about your next line and more about not blushing on camera. There's power in stillness, and Kevin embodies it. Diane leans back, her expression thoughtful. He's professional, thoughtful, protective of the moment. When a scene demands vulnerability, he gives you the space to be real. Working with him taught me that strength doesn't have to be shouted. Sometimes, it just stands there, calm and unbothered, letting every emotional beat hit harder. She pauses for a long moment, as if replaying a memory only she can see. There's this unspoken comfort he creates. You know you're in safe hands, even when the story goes to dark places. That's rare. It's leadership without ego. He anchors a set, not by commanding it, but by steadying it. Her smile softens, a touch wistful. Kevin has that cowboy soul, even off-screen. The quiet mornings, the deliberate choices, the loyalty to truth. You sense he's carried 1,000 stories behind those eyes, but he only gives you what's needed in the moment. That mystery, it draws you in. Diane exhales, almost whispering. When the camera rolls, it's not acting. It's trust. You lean in, and suddenly, every silence feels heavy with meaning. That's Kevin. He doesn't chase the light. He lets it find him. Josh Brolin's name brings a laugh, quick and genuine. Josh, pure energy, all instinct, all grit. Diane leans forward, her voice lively and full of momentum. I remember working on Jonah Hex. That man is a storm waiting to happen. You feel it before he even says hello. She pauses, eyes glimmering as if reliving the moment. Josh doesn't stick to rhythm. He throws in a glance, a tone, a sudden spark that changes everything in a scene. You have to keep up, or risk being swept into his current. And the thrill is in trying to anticipate him, to match him, to survive the energy without losing yourself. That tension, it's electric. Her laugh is warm, infectious. And yet, there's tenderness underneath all that chaos. He'll deliver a take like thunder, loud, raw, unforgettable. And then, between setups, he's cracking jokes, checking on everyone, making sure the crew and cast are okay under the dust, the heat, the exhaustion. That combination of raw intensity and thoughtfulness? Magnetic. It's a lesson in contrasts, strength tempered with care. Diane tilts her head, voice softening into reflection. There's a moment when the line between acting and reality blurs. You think you're performing, and then you catch his eyes, and for half a heartbeat, neither of you is acting. That's when trust meets tension. That's magic. That instant reminds you why you love this job, why you keep returning to the set, day after day. Her smile widens, eyes twinkling with admiration. Josh is fearless, contagious, and without even trying, he elevates everyone around him. You adapt, you respond, you rise. Off camera or on, the man is exactly as compelling as he is in front of the lens. And somehow, he turns the chaos of a film set into a kind of playground, where danger, humor, and art collide in the most unforgettable way. Matt Dillon at. The mention of Matt Dillon. Diane's expression softens, nostalgic. Matt, that one takes me back. We were kids, trying to look like adults who knew what they were doing. She laughs, warmth in her voice. He had this quiet cool every director in the 80s wanted. the lean against a wall, the nonchalant gaze, yet somehow owning every frame. Meanwhile, I was failing spectacularly at looking composed. Her eyes glint with mischief. Matt could make silence feel like dialogue. Waiting for your cue, you'd realize he was already telling a story with a glance. Dangerous kind of focus. It pulls you in, effortlessly. You become hyper-aware of every subtle movement, every flicker of emotion, because he doesn't need words to make you feel the story. Diane leans back, shaking her head, smiling. Even decades later, I can picture that half-smile. That same quiet power has matured beautifully. A slow burn instead of a flare. Matt Dillon. He reminds you of a time when everything felt like the beginning of something big. A mixture of nerves, excitement, and anticipation that never leaves you. Her tone softens further, reflective. What I loved most was how he balanced intensity with ease. On set, he could make the most complicated scenes feel natural, effortless, and yet off-camera, he had this grounding presence, like he could absorb the chaos of production without losing focus. It made everyone around him feel safer, calmer, even braver. Diane smiles wistfully. Working with him taught me that the smallest gestures can carry enormous weight. A tilt of the head, a quiet look, the pause before a line. Those are the moments that stay with you. Matt had that magic, the ability to make you believe every scene, every emotion, without shouting it. That's rare. That's timeless. Tom Cruise. Diane laughs as she says, Tom Cruise. Tom, pure momentum. Fearless energy from the moment he walks in. She leans back, gesturing as if to contain the memory. Even in our early days, you felt his focus, his drive. Not the loud, showy kind, but the kind that commands attention without demanding it. Her eyes light up. Fast-talking, full of ideas, planning the next stunt, the next take, the next everything. You leave a day with Tom feeling like you've run a marathon in a good way. Exhilarated, alive, awake. She chuckles softly. He's got that boyish charm, precise and captivating. Looks straight at you, and suddenly the world fades. Focus like that is disarming. It works just as well off-camera as on. On set with him, intensity meets optimism, and you respond rather than act. That's the secret of his magic. Diane leans forward slightly, voice softening. What amazed me most was how he could take the pressure of a stunt-heavy scene and turn it into play. There's a joy in his movement, a rhythm in his energy that makes you forget how difficult it is. You feel the heartbeat of the scene, not just the lines on a page. She smiles, eyes twinkling with memory. And yet, beneath all that adrenaline, there's a thoughtfulness. He notices if someone's uncomfortable, checks in without making a fuss, and somehow makes the chaos of filming feel safe, organized, and exciting all at once. That combination of relentless drive and genuine care, it's rare. It makes you want to be better, to match the energy, to rise to the challenge, scene after scene. Her laughter returns, warm and soft. Tom Cruise is a force you can't ignore, and somehow, even years later, that energy lingers long after the cameras stop rolling. It's unforgettable. Christopher Lambert. Diane's smile turns reflective. Christopher Lambert. There's a mystery about him. Calm on the surface, but always something underneath. Working together on night moves, long hours, complicated dialogue. He had this focus that drew you in. Her hands fold gently, replaying memories. He listens. Really listens. Even the quiet moments between takes felt charged, like sharing a secret with no words. That accent, half the charm done before he even speaks. Gentle, mischievous, keeps everyone alert, always on their toes, always aware that something interesting is about to happen. She leans back, soft laugh escaping. Christopher is precise. Every look, every pause, purposeful. Acting with him is like a chess game. Every move considered, every reaction deliberate. Yet he's generous, He wants the scene to breathe, to feel honest. That quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't dominate, but somehow makes everything alive. Her eyes soften, drifting with memory. He had this way of turning the mundane into cinematic gold. A small glance at the right moment, a subtle shift in posture. And suddenly, the entire scene had a new rhythm. I remember watching him work, fascinated, realizing that this is what makes someone not just a great actor, but a storyteller. The room could be silent, but he made it feel electric. Diane gazes slightly wistfully. Hollywood and Paris, different worlds. Yet for those months, we spoke the same cinematic language. Mysterious, elegant, unforgettable. And even now, years later, I can close my eyes and feel that energy. The quiet, compelling presence of someone who could make every frame matter without even trying. Diane's tone softens. So yes, these 6 men, each left a mark. Different energies, different magic, but all unforgettable. Some taught me strength, others playfulness, some quiet focus, and a few, the kind of intensity that pulls you in before you realize it. She smiles knowingly. It's a reminder that acting is a dance. Sometimes dangerous, sometimes tender. Sometimes the fantasy is safer than reality. But the memories, they stay, they shape you, and they make life and work richer. Her gaze drifts slightly, thoughtful. I've had love, laughter, danger, and elegance in equal measure on set. And at 60, I'm still learning, still reflecting, still telling stories, and some secrets, of course, I keep just for myself. Soft laughter escapes her, low and inviting. But it's worth sharing a few, just enough to let you in on the magic. She leans back, composed, radiant, eyes twinkling. That's the truth of my life in Hollywood. The co-stars, the stories, the lines blurred, all of it unforgettable.
Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more dives into Hollywood's hidden history.